stay with their current team?
I would say Micah, because like I said at the top of the hour, I'm not buying with Jerry Seld. I think they get this done. I think, say what you want about Jerry Jones, he's shown that even when it's cost him far more than he needed to pay, in the end, he does open up his bank account and he ends up paying, whether it be Dak, whether it be CD. I think the Bengals, I think a lot of people in the offseason were very surprised that the Bengals went 2 for 2 and signed their 2 wide receivers. We all were saying they should. But the Trey Hendrickson piece, I'm just not as confident that a franchise that's been known to be cheap, polite way of saying it, because they spent so much money in the offseason, I'm not as confident that they'll bring out the Brinks truck for Trey.
Yeah, I see it a little bit differently. I'm going to roll with
Hendrickson?
Trey Hendrickson being the guy that's more likely to stay. If for no other reason, Adam Schefter, who came on my show earlier this week, Unsportsmanlike, shameless plug, 6 a.m. ESPN Radio, he said that it feels like the Dallas Cowboys and Micah Parsons are heading toward a divorce. Now, he said he's not sure whether it happens before the start of the season, whether it happens after the season, but the two sides have not talked. That's what makes this different than the CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott negotiations, or a couple of years ago with the Trayvon Diggs negotiations. There was months of dialogue before those deals got done at the 11th hour before the start of the season. The Dallas Cowboys front office has yet to reach out to Micah Parsons' agent, David Mulligetta. And they feel aggrieved because they thought that they had agreed with Micah on a contract extension earlier in the offseason. I don't know how you think you agree without the player's agent being represented in the room.
Or pen to paper.
That's neither here nor there. But I think for those reasons, I would lean toward Trey Hendrickson being the guy that's most likely to stay. And the reality is this. The Cincinnati Bengals are trying to compete for a championship this year. You don't dole out the contracts that you did to your wide receivers and not think that the team is not capable of being able to get to the big game. And I just don't see a pathway to them being able to do that without Trey Hendrickson. So I think the ceiling for the Bengals is much higher than the ceiling for the Dallas Cowboys. And in this instance, fear should do the work of reason.
Mina?
Well, I think both players stay. I'd just start there. But if I had to pick one that seems most likely, I'll say Micah, just because moving on from him would be dumber. It doesn't mean that the Cowboys aren't going to do it. I don't pretend to understand the inner workings of Jerry Jones's mind at this point in terms of how he approaches these things. But Micah Parsons is one of the 3 best edge rushers in football. He is younger. Trey Hendrickson turns 30 this year. And it would just frankly be baffling for them to not give him a long-term deal. I still think this is headed towards an overpay. Now, I'm in agreement with Chris. The Bengals' defense, as bad as it is, losing Hendrickson would only make it worse. And obviously, you would not be able to get pressure without him, I believe, to the same degree. But if they were to just let things play out with him rather than give him another deal, I don't think he's holding out. So I could see it going that way with Cincinnati, where there's no deal, but he's just on the team this year.
All right, for lack of a better term, I realize we're dealing with Dumb and Dumber here with trying to get these situations done. Mina kicked it off, so blame her. Kimberly, which star, though, if we take this on the field, do you think makes a bigger difference? Is it Micah or Hendrickson?
It's like, you want me to choose between pasta and pizza? Like, yeah. I love them both. Like, I don't. Interesting.
Yeah, pizza, thin crust, especially here in New York. Carry on.
Okay, we know where you stand.
Yeah.
I don't. You're not going to make me choose.
Okay, Ganti?
I think it's Trey Hendrickson. Now, Micah Parsons is the better player, but I think Trey Hendrickson has the bigger impact just because I believe that Trey Hendrickson with his team gives Cincy an opportunity to get to the championship rounds. Conversely, I think the Dallas Cowboys are the 3rd best team in their division at best, even with Micah. Without him, they're probably in the cellar of the NFC East. So when I think about the Cincinnati Bengals and how they're trying to win football games this year, it's very reminiscent to me of the 2006 Colts. We're going to let our offense help our defense by being able to dictate to opposing offenses that they have to be one-dimensional by virtue of the scoreboard. So I see a scenario where Trey Hendrickson, in terms of the formula for success for Cincinnati, being more integral than Micah Parsons for the Dallas Cowboys.
Mina, do you co-sign?
Not quite. I think Trey Hendrickson lifts the floor of this defense, but I think Micah Parsons lifts the ceiling of the Cowboys defense, if that makes sense. Without Trey Hendrickson, this defense, I mean, they were bad with Trey Hendrickson, I guess is what I'm saying, last year. And while he helps them get after the quarterback, and I struggle to see where the sacks and pressures come from without him, candidly, he is not a plus run defender. He's not really helpful in that regard, and run defense is a massive concern of mine watching this team. Whereas in Dallas, they actually have other pass rushers. Osa Odighizuwa, who they did manage to pay, is actually one of the better three techs in the NFL. I mentioned Donovan Izaraku and Dante Fowler Jr. last year, Marshawn Leland. There are options there. But Micah Parsons, to me, is the straw that stirs the drink. He was the second most double-teamed edge in football. We know what he's capable of production-wise. If he is on the field with those other players I mentioned, and maybe if they get a little healthier in the secondary, I could see the Cowboys defense actually being above average. There's no world, frankly, in which I see the Bengals defense even hitting that threshold, candidly, even with Trey Hendrickson on the field.
So what Chris and Mina just laid out is why I cannot choose, because both of these teams, if you don't have either of these players on the field, you are not seeing the Cincinnati Bengals as a legit Super Bowl contender. You're not seeing the Cowboys going anywhere. And honestly, both of these guys have been on the field, and their team has failed to either advance as far as we think. So for organizationally, both squads have pretty much, front offices have said, we've lost without you. Like, we haven't gotten to the point where we need to be with you on the field. I think they're both so vital. I don't think
Kimberly, I'm only letting you get away with this because you're my girl.
Pasta. I want pasta.
Because no one else. And that's what, you know what, let's just take it there before we go to break. Pizza or pasta?
Oh, I'm going pizza.
Pizza.
Yeah,
Solid?
it's the more versatile vehicle.
Kimberly, can you
Pizza's more versatile than pasta. You got
Yeah.
Oh my
breakfast
God,
pizza,
with the
lunch
Parmesan
pizza,
and the
dessert pizza.
it's the whole
Pizza's more
experience of it.
versatile.
Can I
sorry.
get a take from you on this? Are we going pizza or pasta?
First of all, there are different variations of pizza. New York pizza supreme versus places like Chicago and whatever.
Yeah.
So what kind of pizza are we talking about? That's why pasta is the greatest.
Mina, where are you?
I'll go pasta because I guess it's kind of like the Micah Parsons in this analogy. I think the ceiling with pasta is higher.
There we go. All right, we're leaving on that note. We're just carving up
1,000%.
right in New York. You get a slice anywhere, and like, who's better than you? $1.99. I mean, come on. Coming up, high expectations.
Just strong as I would say. It was fun at the same time, and I think it was what we needed though. I mean, we love competing, especially me, Jeff, and I'm excited to have that man as my teammate. And so I mean, I can't wait to see what he do. Sundays I already know what he about, but I get to see the real thing coming soon.
I'm here for all that passion. That was Cam Ward on a scuffle in practice with defensive lineman Jeffrey Simmons. Canty, what do you think of Ward going at it in camp?
Let me tell you what you don't need to do, young fella. Unsolicited advice. Don't go barking up that tree with Jeffrey Simmons. That's a grown man, dog. You don't want that kind of problems. I know you're the quarterback, and people stay off of you out of respect for the position. But leave Jeffrey Simmons alone.
We don't want that smoke.
He ain't the one. He ain't the one.
We'll keep it rolling here, guys. Bryce Young, Caleb Williams, back-to-back overall #1 draft picks, had middling seasons last year. They threw 15 and 20 touchdowns, respectively. Good for 23rd and 15th in the NFL. Mina. Will Caleb or Bryce have the bigger turnaround this season? Talk to me.
It's Caleb Williams, and that's not criticism of Bryce Young. Those were season-long stats you just saw there for Bryce, right? If you divided that in half and just looked at when he came back after replacing Andy Dalton, after Andy Dalton replaced him, he was like a top 15 quarterback in the 10 to 15 range in most important metrics. For me, with Bryce Young, I see that continuing. So no turnaround is needed because he already turned it around in the second half of last season. Whereas Caleb Williams last year, you do over the course of the season, bottom 5 in just about everything. I think he takes a big leap this year under Ben Johnson as his head coach with some of the talent they've offered. So it's just math for me, Molly. Bryce Young, I think, already turned it around. Caleb, you need to see the turnaround this season.
Yeah, I agree with Mina. It's a lower starting point for Caleb Williams than for Bryce Young in this season, but I still go with Bryce Young, and here's why. Second half of last year, final 9 games, they won 4 of them, including 3 in overtime. They pushed the Kansas City Chiefs to the gun. They lost on a last-second field goal, but during the final 9 games, Bryce Young, 17 total touchdowns to only 3 interceptions. absolutely phenomenal at being able to manage the game and to make some big-time plays in the passing game. We saw some throws reminiscent of when he was down at Alabama. And then this offseason, the Carolina Panthers, they went out and they drafted Ted McMillan with a top 10 pick to go with last year's first-round pick, Xavier Legette. That's basically having two small forwards in the NBA playing wide receiver. You got continuity in the coaching staff and continuity on the offensive line. But here's the biggest one. Bryce Young is the one of the two quarterbacks that we're talking about in this conversation that has a legit path to being able to win his division. The Carolina Panthers have the 5th easiest schedule in football. So when we start talking about improvement year over year with team win total, I would give the edge to Bryce Young.
So it sounds like, Christopher, you're saying that Bryce will have a better season than Caleb, but we're talking about turnaround. That's all. Just keyword, turnaround, which is when I look at Caleb, not just the stats, but watching the Bears last year, there were times where he struggled to get the play out properly. There were times where coaches on the sidelines weren't sure where he was supposed to be throwing the ball. And that's the when I look at the floor of what Caleb was last year, with Ben Johnson, like I said, building it from the studs up, I think that's where you see a complete turnaround. You won't see him being confused. You won't see a coaching staff that says, what are you doing? The expectation is he's going to know from the fundamentals laid in training camp.
Mina?
Yeah, I just want to hit something that Chris said. I actually think the Bears are going to be a better team than the Panthers. I understand that the Panthers are in a better division, but that defense, still a lot of holes there, all 3 levels. I know Derek Brown's back rest. I think this Bears defense is going to be one of the sneaky turnaround units of 2025, especially with Dennis Allen heading things up over there. They got a little more talent on that side of the ball. So Caleb Williams, I think, more bigger turnaround at the quarterback position, and I think the Bears team is going to have a big turnaround as well.
But we all have high expectations of both of these quarterbacks.
Like, what are we talking in terms of win total for these teams?
I think the Carolina Panthers will finish with a winning record.
Okay.
I think they have an opportunity to win their division.
Bears?
I'm not.
I'm not there.
I'm not there.
with the
We're not there yet?
I'm not there with the Bears.
We're a little
I need to see
aggressive.
it. Need to see it.
Mina, I almost worked your Seahawks into the show. I was almost there, but we are out of time. I will try to make it happen next week. We appreciate you. Have a fabulous weekend. Bye, guys.
This is SportsCenter.
Hey, welcome to SportsCenter. That is Amina Smith. I'm Brian Custer. It's a big day.
It is.
Here at the network. It is launch day. We're talking to WWE's Triple H. Ooh. And do you know, Amina, we are 2 days away from the start of college football, 2 weeks from the NFL regular season kickoff.
Football season is here, and that's exactly where we start. Will Micah Parsons be on the field with a new deal when the Cowboys face the Eagles? Jerry Jones answered that this morning. Take a listen. It's new on SportsCenter.
How close are you to getting a deal with him?
Mike is a great player, not a good player, but a great player. He knows more than anyone that it's a team thing. And so I know everybody's tired of hearing this, but you've got to put this puzzle together so that you can have some other people out there playing with Michael. That's the art of the deal, and that's why we're trying to get done, and we're trying to make this thing work. But we have all the appreciation in the world for what he can mean to the years ahead. We're proud to have you.
All right, let's bring in our NFL analyst, Herm Edwards. He's with us now. And Herm, listen, you just heard from Jerry Jones, and when you parse through all the word salad, it sounds like he wants Micah Parsons to take less. Your reaction to that?
Well, he may want him to take less, and maybe Michael will do that at the end, but you need to pay this guy whatever he wants. He is